Hey guys, so I'm here tonight with my review of the Hush Hush Saga books. I finished them a couple of weeks ago, and I think I promised this video up on Friday, but I got really sick, and so I didn't film last week. Which is why you're missing a video, and I'm sorry about that, but trust me, you wouldn't have wanted me to film. But I'm feeling better now, and so here I am with the video I promised you last week. Just a few updates on some maintenance things. I'm trying really hard to work on the blog. It's not always happening. I'm going to start posting links below to my blog every video. I think I posted it on a couple of videos back, but I haven't been doing it regularly, so I'm going to start posting the link to the blog. I also I didn't reactivate, but I started using my Twitter account again, so it's the same as my channel. You can find me there. And then my Instagram is also linked to my Twitter account, so you can find me through that. But yeah, those are just some social media things that I'm trying to work back on getting into the hang of. My first section I want to do is going to be on the saga as a whole and my thoughts. And there won't be any spoilers in this section, so feel free to listen. One thing that really kind of frustrated me throughout the whole saga is that the beginnings to Becca Fitzpatrick's novels are really weak. I didn't enjoy them. It took me a long time to get into them. But she has such a talent for writing endings. About the halfway point, everything picks up, and I just could not put the book down on all four of them. So I don't know what it is, but her beginnings I don't really like. But by about the second or the third book, I realized that I should just power through them and it would get better, and it always did. I'm all for a strong ending, but I would prefer it if it didn't come along with such a weak beginning that took me a long time to really want to get to the ending. But overall, the endings were strong enough that I would continue to read. One thing I didn't like is the ending to the second book was a major cliffhanger. That irritates me. I feel like it's a gimmick, and that you're just trying to leave it out on a cliffhanger so that I will buy your next book. Well, if you write a good enough novel, I'll want to buy the next book anyway. And honestly, having cliffhangers really makes me not want to pick it up. I mean, I bought the second, third, and fourth books all at the same time. So since I already own them, obviously I was going to read it. But had it ended on a cliffhanger, I don't know that I would have picked up Silence had I not already owned it, because that irritates me so much. Just my own personal pet peeve. Then overall, most of the characters have some form of development. It's not as much character development as I probably would have liked to see, but in general, they do all grow a little bit as characters throughout some point in the series. The one character that I feel like did not grow enough was V. V irritated me from beginning to end of the series. She's just a really crappy best friend. Didn't honestly understand why her and Nora were friends at all. The whole friendship just kind of bothered me. Nora kept secrets from V, and V would never listen to Nora's intuition about people or situations, and they both just kind of pushed each other in ways that I don't think real friends would have. And so that whole friendship just kind of bugged me throughout. The thing I really liked was the whole angels theme, especially the fallen angels. I know that there are a lot of books out there that have angels in them, but I haven't personally read any yet. And I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was well written and a good introduction into that whole area of, I guess it's paranormal. I'm not really sure. Really enjoyed it as something new and different, and maybe I'll pick up some more books that do involve angels. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's now a possibility that I'm actually really considering. The last thing that I'm going to say about the series as a whole, and this is not necessarily a positive, in fact it's not a positive at all, is that I felt like, as in so many other YA, especially the YA paranormal romances, it was an obsession love. It was not a true love, relationship love. It was, you're new and different and I love you and I'm going to love you forever, and there's really no reason behind that love, but it's going to be there. A lot of these novels, I feel like there's a trend for the authors not to develop the love between the two characters, and it's just there, and it's all encompassing, like it should have always been there, and they can't live without it. And that's about as unrealistic from real life love as you can get. So that just kind of frustrates me as a whole. I think Becca Fitzpatrick strayed far from that trend. So that was kind of a letdown for me. I'm going to review Hush Hush, which, since it's the first book in the series, isn't going to have any spoilers. So if you're just trying to feel out whether you want to start picking up this series, go ahead and continue watching. But after Hush Hush, it will, I mean, obviously there will be some spoilers, so I would stop the video after that point, but I'll give you a warning then too. My big issues with Hush Hush is that it does have the same, I'm going to say, Twilight-esque plotline that a lot of novels are getting right now. You know, it's boy meets girl, boy's a little strange, girl finds out boy's secret, they fall in love, boy's dangerous, oh no, something bad happens at the end. It's very cliche. I will say that I think this one was better written than Twilight. I thought the storyline was better. I thought the interactions between Patch and Nora were more realistic and less obsession-y than Twilight. But refer back to previous rant, it still is, it's just very quick, oh, I love you now, and I know that you could possibly kill me, or want to kill me, or you're a bad person, but I don't care, I really like you. And I will say, the first book had the strongest beginning, I think, out of any of the four. It did catch my attention early on. I wanted to continue reading, and then about the halfway point, it really got good, and I couldn't put it down. So, out of all of her beginnings, this was the strongest one, which is appropriate since it's the beginning of the series, and if you don't want someone to put it down 50 pages in, you gotta write well at the beginning. And the other thing I really like about this one is it wraps up really nicely at the end. Like, this could very easily be a standalone novel, and you don't even have to pick up the second one in order to read it. And I like books that do that. I'm more of a serious kind of girl than a saga. I would much rather have books that potentially could be standalone books or have a little bit of overlapping information, but overall are not one big story arc. So that's my own personal preference. For me, that's a positive. For other people, it might not be. You know, it's whatever you feel. The other thing I really enjoyed about Hush Hush was that the plot twists I thought were super creative. I've read a lot, and so a lot of times I can tell you who the bad guy's going to be or what's going to happen towards the end of the novel. But in this one, I think Becca Fitzpatrick actually surprised me. And that continues on throughout all four books, which I think is part of the reason why I think her endings are so strong. They're filled with plot twists that actually surprise me, which I enjoy. Okay. And then the only other thing I'm going to talk about is a couple of the characters. V, I've already said, irritates me. Her friend tells her not to hang out with a guy, or that she thinks he's unsafe, or whatever. So, naturally, you're going to go around with him and hang out with him and try to bring Nora in the same room with him. That's just dumb. You should trust your friend's intuition about people just for face value, because she's your friend. Nora, on the other hand, I didn't really like either. She's very much that typical plain Jane, there's nothing special about me kind of main character, which is just cliche at this point. Not saying I want every main female lead to be a supermodel who's perfect and, you know, gets all the guys' attentions. I'm not saying that either. But she could have some personality to her. You know, or something like that. Just make her more interesting. Patch I really did like. I thought he was well written and mysterious. There are obviously parts about him that are cliche, but I thought overall he had the most character out of any of the characters. I thought that he was the most well developed, at least in this first book, and I really enjoyed reading him. And I also want to talk really briefly about the actual fallen angels themselves. I thought that she introduced Nora to the idea of the fallen angels really well. She tells her enough to get her through the book. It did leave enough open for the next couple books, so you're still learning. And it's still new to you. and there's somewhere to grow. So overall, I really did like Hush Hush. I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And it did make me want to read the others, which is why I went and picked up the second, third, and fourth book all at one time. And which is why you're getting a video like this, because I very rarely read a whole series at once, or at least close enough together that I can even review them. The only other book I'm going to review in this video today is Crescendo, which is the second book in the series. There are spoilers in this part of the video, so if you have not read Hush Hush, I would go ahead and stop the video right here. You know you don't want it spoiled as much as you think you do. You don't. So put it down, stop playing, move on. It's going to be okay. Crescendo was probably the book in the series that took me the longest to get into. Mostly because I didn't see the point to it. The way that she begins the second book, to me, just takes me by surprise. You're going to go back to her dad's death and start there. I'm slightly confused by where this even came from or why this is even plot important. I mean, obviously it is. I really just think Hush Hush should have been a standalone. It's really what it amounts to, and I don't think she did a good job of introducing a second novel. I don't think she led up to it enough at the end of Hush Hush. So then at the beginning of Crescendo, I felt like there was too much trying to make it happen, that I just couldn't get into it. Okay, and so we start out the second book with Patch becoming a guardian angel after having rescued Nora at the end of the first book, which I thought was an interesting, he got his wings back and all that, but then their breakup shortly afterwards I did not like. I thought it was yet again kind of cliche to have them break up in the second book. Oh no, what are they going to do without each other? And it goes back to that obsession love where she freaks out about how her life can't possibly go on without him. Yeah, it can. Move on. There are other guys out there. You're, 16? It's just so unrealistic to me, and it frustrates me. And it frustrates me even more that young girls are reading these kinds of things, and this is their impression of what love should be, because it's so not what love should be. But that's just a side rant. But so I thought that the breakup was frustrating. I didn't think it was valid. I didn't enjoy it. I super didn't enjoy Nora's depression because of it.